Okay, moving along. I'm going to try to do the concept here on paper first. Hopefully it may kind of make sense. I want you to conceptually get what we're doing first before we actually do this, even though some of you have done this already. Hope that this is visible. This is a server that we created, and we have all the extensions like 111, 112, all the way up to 144 and 145. So those are the extensions on that server, and those are users on that server. And here's our phone, and we connected like using that account on that server. That means that I'd be able to call anybody on this. Now that's using the default account of account 1. You do have 4 accounts on the phone, which gives you actually an added benefit that a PC typically doesn't have, and that is logging onto multiple servers at the same time. Well, you can do it. Doesn't matter. Just follow along here. I also have an account 2, and that could be a different server. It could be the same extensions like 111 or whatever, but we created accounts 100, 101, 102 on each of your servers, so those all exist. So account 2, so account 1 might be, username is 145, password is password. Account 2 could be username of 101 and passwords. The difference is what server am I connected to. If this is a .0 server, then that would be, the .0 server that I'd be connecting to using account 1. Account 2 might be connected to, Chris, I'm just going to use your server since you're right there. You have a .12 server, and you have these accounts created, correct? James, do you have accounts 100 through 105 created? Do you have accounts 100 through 105 on your server? No? Okay. Sean, do you have accounts 100 through 105 on your server? Okay. So you would be server 22, right? Whatever server you created last week, that is your number for life. Well, at least a semester. So if you were 21, please be 21 for the rest of the semester, even if you move to the back row and go to the computer, 45 or something like that. It might just be good to put that in your notebook. What's that? You certainly can. You can change your server address, and I'll show that in just a minute, but let me just finish this concept first. So you aren't server 21. You're... Daniel. Well, whatever you created, and you give it a static address. What did you give it as a static address? You definitely shouldn't have a server as DHCP. There was DHCP. 44. 34, thank you. Does anybody else have a 34? Nope, just 34. Good. So take 34, keep 34, put it in your notebook. Like I said, that might be some really good stuff to put, like server IP, colon, 172.16.207.34. Password, password. A couple things that you might want to be looking at, even all the default gateway stuff, subnet mask, DNS information, write that all out so you have it what it is. I will log on to 22, going back to what I was talking about. I'm going to use account 105 for account 2. Now I can go to another one. Michelle, do you have on .21? Okay. So there's another server. Okay, there's an account on here, 103. I can use account 3 to log in with username 103 to server.21 with a password of password. And so I can use those different extensions. How those show up are the different lines. And I'll try to zoom in a little bit to make it a little bit clearer, hopefully. Unfortunately, only the first line ends up showing up on the main screen, like extension 100, but the other lines are completely active and functional. So to do this, I need to get to my phone to actually modify those. And I'm going to my phone. Make sure you're logging onto your phone. My phone is 207.100. My password is admin. I go to account 1. Now, you shouldn't be changing it in account 1. Account 1 should always be pointing to the classroom server so that everybody's stuff is still all together. Account 2 is what I'm going to be changing, and I just wrote it down on the piece of paper, so it should be pretty easy to put the stuff in. I need the server name, which would be 172.16.207.22. My username for that server is going to be 105, and my password for that server is password. Get in the habit of making these other changes all the time when you create accounts, otherwise the other features aren't going to function. So going on down, make sure you choose the via RTP for send DTMF, and then your 2 yeses for turn on the speaker, for allow auto answer, and also turn off the speaker, on remote disconnect. And then I click. Oh, yes, thank you. And I'll do the call log. Thank you very much. The call log only going incoming and outgoing, and I click update. Now again, I don't have to reboot. It is actually it's stored in memory, so I'm not going to lose it even if I time out. But they don't take effect until I reboot. Now I go to account 3, and I might do a different server. So a different server is 172.16.207.21, and the account would be I chose 103. Are you using 103 yet for anything? No, okay. And then password is password. No, I'm sorry. Password is password. And then I choose via RTP, log incoming, outgoing, and yes for call info and remote disconnect and update. Just to demonstrate, I'm just going to choose account 4 as well. And I'm going to put it as another user on my existing server. So I'm going to use account 101, which is a Paul 2. So it's the same server. So you can have multiple, and that's typically what you do. You typically don't log into multiple servers, but for some of our activities, it's going to help out. So you can do your own stuff in your own groups. 172.16.207, .207. .0 again. The username is going to be 101, and my password is still going to be password. Via RTP, the call log, and then yes, and then update. When you're all done, then you can click reboot, and it'll take effect with all those servers. So I'm logging on to 2 different accounts on the same server, and I'm logging onto additional servers as well. Now, like I said, normally you would be having multiple extensions possibly on the same phone, so you can transfer, you can take multiple calls, so you can do your own little thing in your office. They might be different department rings, or maybe they'll roll over so you know who's calling where. So I'm just going to grabbing a piece of paper. You can write down the different information, like which server you're connected to, what extension you are, because like I said, it's only showing the one extension off of line 1. But if I want to talk to somebody on Sean's server, I would have to make sure that I choose line 2 before I call. So it's using account 2, or if I want to use something on Michelle's account, I go to line 3. Now I can call my own self. So if I dial 101. It's showing that this is ringing. And so it's telling you which line is actually ringing. So if somebody called me from Sean's server, I would show up that, oh yeah, I'm connected to Sean's server and what extension it is. Normally you'd have nice little labels for this. Sorry, I don't have them for you. Paper works. I would use masking tape, but that's like really sticky. It's just like, it's me changing, it'd be a real mess. So just a piece of paper. So now it's showing that's ringing. I can also call from line 2, obviously, and like I'm dialing extension 100, and now it's showing that line 1 is ringing. Okay. Okay, go ahead and connect to 3 other people's servers. So have one for the class. Always keep line 1 for the class. Keep your name and main extension like 113, 114, 145, whatever. And then for lines 2, 3, and 4, connect to other people's servers, and then try to connect, use their extensions and dial other people on their extensions. Once Sean and Michelle get some more people on their servers, don't use 105 on Sean's or don't use 103 on Michelle's. So as you're sharing accounts and things, don't use those because that's already being taken. So go ahead and do that. Try to connect to other people's servers and try to use the different lines to make calls. In your group, only within your group. So you have 4 people in your group. So you could assign who's me what. Make Chris extension 101. James, you could be extension 102. I'm already 103, and you could be 104. And Michelle, you could be 105 on your own server. So you should have multiple people connected to your server. Again, for every account, you need 2 sides. You need the server side, so you have to have the accounts created first. So 100 through 105 have to be created. Then I go to the phone and make sure I'm logged in here. And I go to account 1. And the SIP server is the server that you're logging into. The SIP user ID is the account that they created, the extension. So 100, 102, 103, 104. And then the authenticate password is the password, which in our case is all password, which will not be a very secure password, but that's what we have. So we do this for line 1 and then making the changes like we did. So send DTMF, make sure you check that. Log incoming and out calls only. And then allowing the call, auto answer by call information, yes, and turn on speaker, yes. So I do that, and I click update. Then I go to account 2, and I already put everything on the board for Garrett. So under SIP server, he just types in 172.16.207.41, and then username of 103, and password of password. I go to it, and then make those other changes. I go to account 3. 172.16.207.43, and then username of 100, password of password, and account 4, it's 172.16.207.32, username of 101, and password of password. So right now in your groups, I want you creating this. Draw this out, because we're getting really confused of who's going where and what. So literally draw it out with lines, with IP addresses, whatever, and write this all out before you do anything on your phone. So you know exactly, once you have this set, okay, this is what I'm typing in. Line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4, and you're done. Yes? Correct. So let's take your phone, you're right here, in fact. Let's make line 2 yourself. So we'll make line 2 go up to 100. Okay, so line 2 will be 172.16.207.41. Username is 100, password is password. And as soon as you do that, now I see I have 2 people on here. So, keep track of where you're assigning the things. Now, you don't have to go back to the server and change this if you don't want, or why not go back and change it? Go on to your server. And for account 102, or let's actually go back. For account 103 on your server, go ahead and put the display name as Garrett. Why not? Configure the whole thing, do the whole scale of configuring that account for that person. And just keep track of where they all are. The important part is, it's like, oh, I want to be 103. No, I want to be 103, and it doesn't work. Right now, the only place that you're connected to is the class on account 1. That's the common thing right now. So we have 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, and so on. And so, yeah, you're all in common. So your connected to it, you're connected to it, you're connected to it, you're connected to it. So yes, you can make those calls, but I couldn't use line 3. Right now, if I use line 3 on Bill's server, is anybody else, are you connected to your server? Oh, you have an extension 143?
Well, that's what we had originally.
Okay.
When we originally set it up on our server, we gave ourselves our...
Sure, that's fine. But so you have account 2 logging onto that.
Right.
Okay, so account 2 looks like 172.16.207.43. Account what? No, your server should be 43, and then the account should be 143 with password of password. Okay, so right now you should be able to dial 100, and Garrett's line 3 will light up. Do you have extension 100 created? Garrett, did you connect your line 3 to his extension 100? So you create the account, he logs into it. There's nothing else that you have to do. Right, so you're connected to, so you have this set up here, right? Okay, so hit your line 3 button and dial 143. So your account 2 is set up this way, Bill, right? Okay, how would they be used? They'll be used in the classroom because right now I'm the only one that can manage the classroom server. I create groups, I'm going to create paging and that kind of stuff. You can't do that. That's not very fun or exciting. So the point is, you're going to come up with your own server, and then you are going to manage ring groups, and you're going to manage paging and that kind of stuff. It's so you can do the activities. That's why I gave you multiple. So you are going to manage your server. So Jacob, later on today, hopefully, that we're going to be doing ring groups so that all these phones are going to ring at once. Now, you are going to do that. You are going to do it on your server. John's going to do it on his server. But doing it on your server without any users doesn't make any sense. So you need users on your server. Before anybody does any accounts, you are going to collectively agree on, you know what, Jacob, you can be 104 on my server. Great. So, you know, there's Adam over there. I'm going to let Jacob be over here. So you write it down on there, keep track of it. And now, you know, Jacob goes on his phone, and I'm going to use account number 3. And I'm going to do 172, my server, 172.16.207.31. Adam said I could use 104. We all agreed on that. 104 and password's password. And again, I'm needing the server name, user account, and password. Adam. Because like right now, even on mine, you know, if I look back on mine, I have account 100 on this one, 105 on that one, 103 on that one, 100 on that. It doesn't make any difference. You need to keep track of that somehow. Piece of paper is really good. And then even putting the piece of paper on your phone like this would be really good. This is Jacob's server, and this is account 102. This is John's server, account 104. You can only do 3. That's why I'm saying you have to decide what's being connected where. You know, you want to split it up a little bit so you at least have a couple of people on each server, you know.
So you have to have your own, like, class as 1.
Class is always going to be 1. You do not change account 1. Class is always going to be 1. You can do anything you want with 2, 3, and 4. Just realize, you know, that when you work with your server, if you're not on your own server, the stuff that you're doing doesn't take effect with you. It'd be really nice if we had like 8-line phones. Then you could connect to all the servers in your group. It's just not going to happen that way. So, you know, you can connect to 3 others however you want. Because I think there's this link problem of servers and phones of not, you're like, what? It's not this big cloud thing. These are specific connections. Remember, when you're trying to use a different account, make sure you push that line button first. You can't just pick up the phone. If you pick up the phone, it defaults to line 1. So you have to put line 3, and then you can dial out for the account 3 accounts. Once you have all 4 accounts set up, and you're capable of calling through different people's servers to other people on that server, you may take a break.